Hey, what's going on? It's Ferrari Simmons, and I'm going one-on-one with Shay Rodriguez. Get ready. I'm a brand, Rari, super lit. Entrepreneur, hustler, father, socialite, party host, radio personality. I can keep going, but that's a good amount. That's about good right there.
So, Rari, thank you so
How you doing?
much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. I want to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing with this project.
Okay.
So, I speak to entrepreneurs on a daily basis. But what I realized is that a lot of successful entrepreneurs have like these guidelines that they kind of live their life by and these values that their work can really be attributed to.
Right.
And just hearing your story, I assigned you with hard work. So that's kind of what I want to talk with you about today.
Okay.
Knowing you're from Florida.
Yeah.
You came here, you were sleeping on like a blow-up bed in Bert Simmons' house.
Yeah.
You were hosting parties at Halo.
Yeah, I was hosting for free for like, then it was like went up to $50, then $75. It was bad.
Crazy. But then you were also working under DJ Holiday. It's kind of like a volunteer intern type thing, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You were able to run a whole show by yourself.
Yeah.
What kind of made you think, okay, I need to do this. I need to make myself a necessity. I need to make myself hot in the streets. I need to make myself able to run everything in this radio station for me to get the radio gig that I've ultimately always wanted.
It kind of started with me studying the market. So I came here in 2009 and I couldn't get hired anywhere. So I had to get a regular day job and work because I had bills to pay and one kid at the time. I have three now. But I had one child at the time, and you know I had bills to pay, and I had to earn money. So I had to study the market. I went out every night, and I listened to every party host. I listened to the radio every day because in order to become who you want, you need to study your craft. So I studied. I kept studying. I took notes. I would be in the club like writing notes for real, in the back, in the corner. And I'd be on listening
down or on the iPhone?
Writing them. I had the iPhone.
Okay,
I had every iPhone ever made. So I had the notepad and I was writing down every note possible. Same thing with the radio, writing down every note possible. And piece by piece, I just started surrounding myself around the people that I wanted to eventually work with. Kept introducing myself over time. Kept telling them what I wanted to do. My first opportunity was the clubs first because that was a little bit more easier because I did clubs in Florida. I did radio in college. So I didn't do professional radio. So that was gonna be a lot more difficult because I graduated from college already. So you're not gonna get an intern job unless you graduate, unless you're in college. So anyway, the clubs was a lot more easier because I knew how to talk on the mic crazy. My mic game was good. So I started hosting parties for like $50. That's really cheap.
That's super cheap. That's super cheap. But you're a long way from that now. I mean.
Oh, nah, yeah.
You're working with multiple brands. You have multiple partnerships.
Correct.
And how important is your partnership and I guess employment with Streets 94.5, even though you have all of these other things going on? You have your show Monday through Friday. Is that like your anchor, do you feel like?
The anchor is my show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Streets 945, Fly Guy DC, what's happening?
Shameless plug.
It's super lit. I do also work for Baller Alert. We do a radio podcast every Monday, and then that spreads out through the week. So those two things are actually my anchors right there.
Yeah.
And then you just have to be in the culture. I'm engulfed in the culture. I have relationships with damn near every artist that's in this wall right here, right now, and that you hear on the radio. So you have to be very important for them to treat you important.
And a big person who kind of helped impact your career, who's also on the Baller Alert podcast with
Kenny Burns.
Legend.
Yep.
How much of a full circle moment is that to go from like opening up for him, hosting parties, to now sitting next to him? Some people who don't even know your story might not even know that you guys aren't equals. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, because there's no such thing as like a host opening for a host. It's not really. Come to Atlanta, you'd be like, okay, that's a DJ and then that's a host? Because usually outside of Atlanta, DJs host. You're just not like a host. Kenny Burns kind of created that whole facade, or not facade, that whole little entity in Atlanta where a party host can actually create a brand for themselves outside of radio. So I worked under him, and I worked for free under him after I was doing my little $50 parties, and I wanted to eventually grow. I started shadowing him. And I just kept asking him questions. And at first he didn't embrace me, but I just kept asking him questions. I was like the little gnat at a barbecue.
That you want to like.
And you got the food. As soon as you get the food on your plate, and the flies just come around, that's me. That's who I am. Like, I'm gonna come around you, and I'm gonna figure out how to get bread from that situation. I'm not gonna use you. I'm not gonna like use your brand. I'm gonna figure out how to do it for myself. And I'm gonna be self-sufficient. But I'm still gonna ask you questions. You know what I'm saying? So he was one of the first people to embrace me, and then Big Tigger, and then Greg Street. Those three right there those are my go-to 3 people. And then I have my cousin, who's just a regular person. Those are like my court, you know what I'm saying, judges. Like, whenever I have any type of big lifestyle situations, I'll call Kenny Burns first. I'll call Greg Street second, Big Tigger third. Then I'll call my cousin, who's just a regular dude that's just gonna be like, hey, hell no.
It's the Libra scale.
Yeah, that's just gonna keep everything balanced, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, those are the 4 people who I go to for anything.
But what's it like being on a show with him now?
Oh, Kenny Burns is it's full circle because I was the first person he called. Because actually, people really don't notice, but Ball Alert did a podcast prior, and I was already on that one.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then, yeah, it just didn't really kind of pan out how it was supposed to. But when he got full control to create his own podcast, I was the first person he called.
So obviously he has invested a lot in you.
Yeah.
Do you think that he would, how do you ever like kind of like balance like self-doubt? You talked about that a little bit earlier in your intro. Do you think he would ever let you doubt yourself?
No. So always paying it forward. Like if I ever do anything questionable, he calls me and curses me out. Or like him, Greg, and Big Tigger, they all 3 of them in particular. My cousin be like, yeah, he be with the shit. But the people who are brand, like Kenny's involved with so many brands, you know what I'm saying? Big Tigger is involved with so many brands. Like the Tigger has a free Corvette. Like Corvette gave him a free Corvette.
That's
like Chevrolet gave him a free Chevrolet. Like
I need to get on that plan.
Yeah, when your brand is so big and you have influence, you get a lot of things for free because people look to you. Like, for example, I'm a Foot Action and brand ambassador, so you'll see me in a lot of things that are from Foot Action. Because
you did some stuff with Aqua Hydrate, right?
Aqua Hydrate, I am an Aqua Hydrate brand ambassador. I love water. I'm not really a drinker. I'm a social drinker. I barely drink. I don't smoke. But yeah, I drink a lot of water because I ran track in college. So I was an athlete growing up, so I always drank water and Gatorade and stuff like that. So water was something that I told to my team, like, yo, let's try to come up with a water situation because I love water.
It came
and we started
natural.
pitching. It's all pitching. And since I do Stone Mountain runs and I have a bike crew that we do the belt line, the water just made sense.
Yeah, it's not like bikes, like not like a micro
bicycle,
bike. It's like
bicycle,
a bicycle.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to ride bicycles.
Gotcha. Okay. So in that same vein, you are not really a partier, but at one point
as weird as it sounds, younger I was partying, but now I'm more so like it's for the brand, you know what I'm saying?
At one point in time, you were hosting like 9 parties in a 7-day span.
Yeah.
How important is it to do things that you're uncomfortable doing or that you don't want to do to further your ambitions? Being
uncomfortable is technically where you want the space you always want to be in when you're trying to grow, because growing is being uncomfortable. I'm always uncomfortable. I'm always in uncomfortable spaces. I'm in an uncomfortable space right now, whether I'm speaking to you individually and I have braces in my mouth right now, Invisalign. But anyway, it's always about being uncomfortable. If you're not uncomfortable, and now I'm so used to being uncomfortable, I'm comfortable being uncomfortable, if that makes sense, you know what I'm saying?
What would you recommend to somebody who's watching this and they maybe want to do something, but they're uncomfortable starting?
You got to do it. Like, you have to do it. That's a mental state of mind. I think a lot of people get comfortable. And when you get comfortable, that's when someone's going to either get you out of your job, you're going to get passed over, you're going to get looked over. I'm always looking for the next thing. I'm always looking for the next challenge. When I get one challenge and I'm there, like I got my first radio show a year ago, I'm already looking to get the next situation. That's where Ball Alert came. And they was like, damn, you got Ball Alert and you on the radio? Yeah. Now we on the TV. Like we ready for TV. And when I get TV, we gonna do movies. Like, I'm not gonna stop. When we do movies, we gonna figure out how to put out our own movie. Like, I'm never gonna stop.
So with that in mind, the way you and your team tackle goals, you have like a yearly breakdown, then a monthly breakdown.
Oh yeah,
for the weeks. Why does that work for you?
We do a yearly goal, and then within the year, you look, when you take it really breaks down itself. It's a year, right? And then it's 12 months in a year, and then each month it's 4 weeks approximately, and each week is 7 days, and then each day it's 24 hours. You break that shit down. Excuse me, I'm sorry. You break it down, and I have daily goals, which I break down into weekly goals, and which I break down into monthly goals, or when I do quarterly goals. Like, for example, I have every week, every Sunday, I write down the whole week. I have a composition notebook, and for me, I'm a visual person, so I have to write it in for it to make sense to me. So I write down my 7-day goal, but then if I turn the page back, I have a quarterly goal that's every 3 months. Okay, this is the goal for that. But each goal has to break down. You can't say, oh, I'm going to be on TV by January 21st. No, that don't make sense. You're going to be on TV maybe by August. What are the things that you need to do to be on TV? You need to go viral. You need to do viral things. You need to be in front of a camera. Okay, do you have a cameraman? Okay, these are things that you have to list. I need to get a cameraman in 2 weeks. So I write that down. And in 2 weeks after that, we move to the next step. What's the content we're going to talk about? Okay, so now we come up with the content. We get that done in 2 weeks. Then we come up with a location, kind of like how you have it. Pick a location. So now, by the first quarter is done, now you have a full show. So by the first quarter, now you're talking about, okay, now we're going to start pitching this idea to television networks.
And that's all from a year to a month.
Yeah, you got to break it all the way down. It's like, anything from like a regular person with a day job to a person with reality, to a drug dealer, to a hustler, to whatever. You have to break it down into small steps to win. Like, that's how you win. You have to break it down. It has to be calculated. It has to be well thought out. You can't just be out here just freelancing. That don't make sense
at all.
And you're just going to be all over the place. And that's when someone can look at you and be like, okay, they're not ready. Oh, this person over here, they're ready. Look at that. Fan base, boom, boom. It's organized, structured. All I have to do is just bring it over here and put it out in front of millions of people. So that's what that's what I like to do. I like to be calculated.
I can dig it. So switching gears a little bit, you mentioned earlier you're a father.
I'm father of 3.
Yes. So tell me, do they make you go harder?
Yeah. It's very difficult at times because they don't see me as Ferrari Simmons. They see me as dad. And I be forgetting that sometimes. Sometimes I be going so hard. I have a 9-year-old. She's in 4th grade. She kind of told me last summer in 2017, Dad, because I buy them whatever they want. And she kind of just was like, I don't care about that. I want to just spend time with you. So that made me was like, damn, okay. I had to set goals for that too. I had to set goals for being a dad. So now,
daddy-daughter dates in your calendar.
Yeah, I gotta have daddy-daughter dates. We have to, time where I have to allow time to read to them. They like reading and the whole nine. So I just have to make sure that is a high priority, if not the highest priority. Because when you're so career-driven and things are happening, it's one thing to be career-driven and things aren't happening, but when they're happening and your plans work, and you be like, yeah, it's like almost like being hooked on drugs. Like, it's a drug that you be like, yeah, like I want more. I want to keep winning. I want to keep coming up with new ideas and accomplishing that. But you have to kind of stop and be like, okay, wait, hold on. Let me take a week off real quick. And you know what I'm saying? Like spring break, I'm gonna shut down. We're gonna go out, we're gonna have fun, and you know what I'm saying? I even talked to my boss about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I just need the whole week off. It's full daddy duty. You know what I'm saying? So now we have something to look forward to. Hey man, spring break, we going in. Can't wait for spring break. So now we have something to look forward to. So yeah, we do that.
Do you think you would go as hard if you didn't have them?
I think so. I'm a very career-driven person. I get it from my mom. My mom is like a natural born hustler. She always had 3 jobs. So I always saw her counting money. I never really saw my mom. My mom didn't really hug me a lot. She's a Caribbean lady. She always had 3 jobs. And I always saw her count money, and she would always I have to work with her. Like, my mom cleaned houses. She was a babysitter. She cleaned houses, and then she took care of older. She was a home.
Like home health aide?
Home health aide, yep. So I would always see her getting all this cash, and I'd just be like, yo, like, how do you get all this cash like that? And then she was like, you want to work with me? I'll pay you. Yeah. And that's how I got all my stuff when I was a kid. I had to buy it.
She made you work for it?
Yeah, she made me work for it.
That's
where I got my ethics from.
Okay. You talked about being career-minded. Would you suggest that anyone who wanted to start a career in any field, let alone entertainment, would you suggest that they start a relationship or think about having children at the same time, or would you tell them no?
That's a good question. I don't think anyone's ever ready for kids. It's best to plan them if you can. I don't ever think kids are planned. So usually when you plan for kids, it's kind of like an oxymoron, to be honest with you. I would just say, just live your life and set real goals. If you have someone that you are in a relationship with, you communicate with that person so they are aware of your dreams and aspirations. So therefore, if a kid comes, then you guys sit down, you have a strong foundation. I think having a strong foundation helps, even if you guys aren't together. Just having a strong foundation and where you communicate. I'm not with my children's mom, but we communicate, and that's very, very important, because believe it or not, when you're not with the person, your significant other, and you have a kid, you have to communicate more because now your schedules, you don't even live together. So now your schedules have to be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, who's gonna pick him up from school? Who's gonna take him to gym class? Who's gonna go here? You got a recital on Friday. It's doing your show. Are you gonna be able to make it? Yeah, I'm gonna have to make it. I'm gonna have to make that happen. And then your 9-year-old tells you, you coming, right? And you forget, but you don't tell them that you forget. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just happens as an adult. But I think communication is a big factor, and if you want it bad enough, it's gonna happen. People make time for what they want. So,
and people work for what they want, right?
People work for what they want.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sitting down with me.
No problem. Anytime.
That wraps us up.
Okay, cool. Shay Rodriguez, Ferrari Simmons.
1-on-1.
Streets 945, Ball Alert, Ball Alert, Ball Alert TV, Ball Alert Radio, Facebook Live, maybe. BET, maybe.
MTV, VH1.
Oh, yeah.
Viacom. Let's put that all out there.
All that.
Thank you.